Welcome in, everybody. I gotta hit the button. And there it is. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in on this Friday, this Football Friday. Michigan on a bye week. It's the midway point of the season. They played 6 games. They will play game number 7. Not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow in Champaign. We're joined by former Wolverine Jerry Diorio to talk a little bit about Michigan, the first half, the bye week, and the second half. What else is there, Jerry? How are you?
I'm doing well, Danny. Great to be a Michigan Wolverine.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that because, Michigan's
always great to be a Michigan Wolverine.
The fans have got their heads down a little bit after the 2 losses. I was thinking earlier today that what it would be like if Michigan had J.J. McCarthy back this year. And I think things would look a lot different, but I think they would be sitting at the break still with a loss. I think they would have lost to Texas, but I think they would have beat Washington. But of course, I think people would feel a lot different about the second half if they had somebody like J.J. at quarterback, right?
Well, yeah. We don't know if we could. We don't know if we would have lost to Texas with JJ, but that's all. That's all immaterial,
right.
Really.
We
have, and Gary, if playing to his strengths.
If JJ came back, he probably would have hurt his knee. He'd have been out for the year, and then they'd be in the same boat because that's what happened to him. So you never know. So you can sit around and play that game all day long. But we do have, I don't know if they're games to play, but we do have questions to ask and answer about the second half. Let's see what Jerry thinks about the Michigan second half. You have the big game tomorrow night out in Eugene with the Bucks and the Ducks. Jerry has got some selected plays to look at from the game against Washington, but let's start out with the top news. And I think that Jack Tuttle will be the starter for Michigan in the second half. How different do you think things are going to be if it is Tuttle against Illinois, Jerry?
Well, I think they're going to start looking to implement more of the offensive strategy from last year, start doing a little bit more offense from last year. I haven't seen a lot of counter. I haven't seen a lot of power this year. It's mostly been inside zone. I think they're going to try to open it up a little bit more and take their shots and hopefully look like the J.J. McCarthy-led offense going forward.
Yeah, it just gets back to that speculation part. If Tuttle would have been there in spring, what would it have looked like if he would have been the starter from the get-go? Davis Warren showed, he had a pretty good arm and can throw the ball away. It was just that the games when he got the pass rush and then start moving around, he started throwing he had the 1 pick in game 1. Then, of course, against Texas, he had 2. And then Arkansas State, what did he have? 3. And that ended up costing him the job. And the game just looked a little bit fast for him. And then with Orji, we've talked about that till we're blue in the face. That game looked a little fast for him, I think, as well. But it didn't in those first 3 drives for Tuttle. Now, it did in the ensuing. You could make a case that it did look fast for him in the ensuing 3 drives. So we're sitting here. It's not like you have J.J. McCarthy that's going up on the horse. I mean, you've got a guy that's he's been in college football for 7 years, but he's been a backup, and nobody's been talking about him as, like a big time QB. But this is the spot that they're in right now.
Oh, absolutely. Denny, we went into the season. I think we said it many times here on the podcast that Michigan needed to have two playbooks this year. One for Orji, one for the rest of them. And it looked like that they really only went into the season with one playbook. They really didn't do much with Orji, in my opinion. I don't think they had a lot of design runs for him. I'm still not sure that he's not the best quarterback for our system because at this point in time, we're trying to my question is, Denny, who are we? Have we found out who we are in the first 6 weeks? And or are we denying who we are? And so this quarterback situation is going to be a thorn in our side the rest of the season. We're going to constantly be questioning every quarterback that goes in. Every quarterback that goes in at this point in time is going to be questioning and looking over their shoulder. When am I going to be replaced? So the quarterback situation, in my opinion, is as ugly as you can get. It's a very disappointing situation where we haven't at least connected with one or two quarterbacks and seeing our offense move. But this offense is being asked to do too many things without any kind of direction or any kind of talent that's going to exploit that. Let's put it this way, Denny. If anybody denies me this, I'm going to question them. We are a run-oriented football team. And when I say that, we are a run-oriented football team, that means from our line, our receivers, our backs, and our quarterback, everything. When you look at our pass blocking, we're not the world's greatest pass blocking team. I mean, we've seen tackles in the quarterback's face a number of times. But we've also seen those same tackles blow people up on offensive run game. And so my thing is, I don't know if we're sold on who we are, and I'm not sure we're not denying who we are.
Yeah, I think you just answered it there. They're a team. If you ask me that question, who's Michigan? They're a team that doesn't have a quarterback. And the quarterbacks that they have had, the game looks too big for them, it's too fast for them, or they're turnover prone. Before they can think about getting into the second half and being competitive against all of these teams all of the teams that they're going to play are going to be in the top 25, except Northwestern, and the Michigan State's a rivalry game. So it's a tough schedule that they have in the second half, but I don't know if they can, how much they can even get close to any kind of ceiling that you might think that they have on offense until they can play a clean game. And they just have a quarterback that can do some, have a forward pass, not turn the ball over, that just.
How about compliment everybody else on that offensive team, Denny? How about a quarterback that's going to help everybody else what they do best on that team? And that's what I've been saying all along. That's what my point has been. We're denying we're a run team. We're trying to, in my opinion, shove a square peg in a round hole.
I think they're a run team, but also, I mean, they're not a service academy where they're just, in a wishbone. They want to be able to throw the ball, and they can't. They can't throw the ball. And, they've had very little success. They had the 3 straight drives when Tuttle came in, and it looked way different than anything that they did this year, right? Am I getting? Are you thinking the same way as me, or are we thinking that
a little bit differently, Denny? And here's why.
Go ahead.
Here's why. Denny, I didn't get a chance to watch the game live. I was at a wedding. Ohio fan, by the way. I was at a wedding, and so I had to watch the game this week and watch it that way. I'm looking at the play-by-play description on ESPN. You tell me if this is playing to our strength. Our first 8 plays. Now, this is after we stop Washington. They miss a field goal. We get the ball. I'm thinking to myself, we're right where we want to be. About the 26-yard line, somewhere in there. What do? We come out, our first 8 plays. Now, remember who's the quarterback at this point in time. It's Alex Orji. Our first 8 plays are 4 passes, which makes absolutely no sense to me at all. There was one situation where we were in 2nd and 8. Most teams are thinking they're behind the chains. In my opinion, with Orji, you're close to really being on the chains or ahead of the chains. Orji gives you that opportunity to run four downs. We've done that in the past. We've proven we can complete fourth downs. And we're going to see situations where we have 4-down territory right in our backyard and we blow it. We throw a pass, it's incomplete, and we're punting. It just doesn't make sense to me what we're doing offensively because we're not playing to the strength of our team. And it's our entire offensive team.
would you go back to spring and they came up with their game plan and their philosophy? Would you say that that's, if you trace that back? I mean, they didn't know that Tuttle. I mean, I guess they knew he was hurt then, but they thought he was going to come back. They knew they had Orji. I'm surprised that they. I know. I think everybody thinks this. There's a lot of people that have said it. I'm surprised that they went forward thinking that they could put Orji out there and play quarterback. And whatever he has done in practice, he's done nothing to show that he can be a quarterback that can.
Or has our offensive staff done nothing to put him in place to be successful? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a double-edged sword. You've got to be able to. They might have handcuffed him a little bit, but he also really hasn't shown that he's a kind of dynamic runner. He's got to be like.
No, we haven't seen that.
If he's going to throw the ball like he has, he's got to run the ball like Denard Robinson. And he hasn't shown that he's like some kind of Denard Robinson type runner.
No, he hasn't, Denny. But you know what he has shown? He can meet a linebacker 1 yard off the ball and push him back 4 yards and get a first down on 3rd and 3 on a run play. That he has shown. He has shown that he has run through tacklers at Minnesota. He has shown that he can run the ball effectively and keep drives alive. What he hasn't shown is that he has got a game plan that allows him to do more run-directed opportunities. Press more gaps than just the freaking A gap or outside gap. Press the B gap. Press the C gap. We're not doing any of that with him. We could have so much more dynamic. And this you're saying about spring. This doesn't go back to spring. This goes back to the winter. You knew this was a possibility. You knew Tuttle was hurt. You knew Davis Warren or Denigol were your backups if Orji didn't do well. But Orji came out of spring. We were thinking Orji was the quarterback. There should have been a whole playbook designed around him.
All right, David's with you. He says they should have run him and Kalel to set up the pass, but it doesn't matter now. Yeah, I don't think the offense isn't suited for him. I'll agree with you on that. They should have catered it more to him. What it looks like he can do to me, he looks limited. He looks like he could be a nice wildcat quarterback that you would come in some short yardage situations, goal line situations, and you could have him run wildcat. I'm not, the biggest wildcat guy, but he can get you that yard or two, and then he can throw some of those touch passes like we saw him in the first game when he threw the touchdown to Donovan Edwards. We also saw him throw that same kind of wildcat pass to Hogan Hansen for a TD. Other than that, we haven't seen much from him positive.
But throwing the ball, no. I'm going back. I haven't seen him with run designs. I have seen him pick up first downs numerous times with his feet, and that's enough for me. Keep drives going. We're punting. We're 3 and out on our second drive. We can't put together any kind of run game at all with this kid. I don't get that.
Now, if they go to Tuttle, he came in. I think that they are going to go to Jack Tuttle. He practiced for a week and a half. He had missed, most of the 6 months being on the shelf. Obviously, was very limited up to a week and a half ago. And then he wasn't there much. I don't know if he practiced at all in fall camp. He was out for spring. That's a lot of time to miss. And then you're a week and a half, and then you're in there and you're playing. So
in Washington.
And then this 2 weeks, though, they'll have. I would think that this is going to be good for him. And if they are, I would think that they would pick one quarterback, not have all 3 of them in there for any kind of competition. I would think that they would have Tuttle, and he would be running 90%, 95% of the first team reps when they get into certainly game week. I guess it's not this week. They can play around however they want, but that's what I'm looking at.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what if that's what they're going to do, if Tuttle's going to be the guy, to give him every freaking snap. Give him
Hey,
every one.
good to see Mustafa in here. Mustafa. He's in on YouTube. I'd never seen that before. I didn't know what that meant, but there it is. Good to see you on there. So the coaches, what do you talked about the offensive side? How about the defensive side? What do you think they do during the bye week? Is it
again? I keep going back that it seems like we're blitzing just to fill a playbook or fill something up. We're getting home at 4. Stewart's having a phenomenal year. So is Mason Graham. We're getting home at 4. Where we get burnt is when we're freaking blitzing and dropping outside linebackers that should be rushing and blitzing linebackers that are more in the pass. Let's think about this. Barnum, remember, he was the guy who intercepted a pass on J.J. McCarthy last year on the goal line, and that almost changed the whole game. I mean, he's not bad in pass coverage. Don't tell me he's a bad pass coverage type linebacker. To me, we're dropping our strength in rushing with people that are not used to or not supposed to be used to rushing, and dropping with people that are not supposed to be used to dropping. So, I'm sitting here and I'm looking every time we rush 4, we're either close or we're getting home. And our 4 down linemen, I was looking at some of the blitzes. Many of the times when we blitz, our guys are getting into our guys' ways when they're going after the quarterback. So when you send 6, there's less room to get through, but there's a heck of a lot more room to pass the ball down the field. And I'm seeing us get home with 4. Even the touchdown pass against Berry in the second quarter, Mason Graham was on the kid's feet. Just another second, we have that. But it seems like we're blitzing just to blitz. I don't see a reason when we're getting home with 4 consistently, putting huge pressure on them. Our secondary looks confused many times out there. We've got corners playing off 8 yards when they're preseason All-Americans, and I'm looking at Washington and they're pressing our receivers. To me, a receiver does not want to get pressed at the line of scrimmage. It throws the timing of the route off. When you give it an 8-yard cushion, what you're doing is saying, take a 2-way go either way, and I'll try to catch you. Because that's what's happening on the defensive side. I'm looking at Johnson, 8 yards. The play right before half, he was beat. And the quarterback knew it. He was smiling because he knew he had Johnson beat. Because Johnson's playing 8 yards off the ball. The kid gives him a little inside head fake, goes to the outside, and they just missed that play by inches. And so I'm wondering why is Johnson playing off 8 yards on a single receiver side? That makes no sense to me. And
okay. Yeah. I remember looking at the blitz rate game 1 and against Texas. It really jumped out how much Wink was blitzing. It was way more than what Michigan had done last year. And then I wasn't tracking it after that. I know that he got the game ball against USC, talking about Wink, from Sharon Moore. And then I read that Sharon Moore said on Monday in his radio program that he has that he looked at the numbers and there hadn't been a big difference between the blitz rate from this year to last year. So what I'm thinking, because it was a discrepancy in the first 2 games, I think that Wink's changed that and he hasn't blitzed as much. I think that they need to simplify things. Whatever his verbiage was, I remember when Makari Page came in the summer and you were saying, hey, how different are there little tweaks? And Makari Page was like, everything's different. Everything that we're doing is different. And then they had communication problems against Texas. They admitted that. I wonder if this week they simplify some of those things, because I think it's been too complicated for these guys. I don't think they've been able to play. You got to be able to go out there and not be thinking. They got to just play, Jerry. And I'm not sure that they've been able to do that. That would be For me, just sitting back here, you're the guy that played football. You coach the game. I'm thinking they need to simplify things on the defensive side.
I think they need to simplify things on both sides of the field, to be honest with you. Defensively, absolutely. A lot of our issues is in the secondary. And I know we lost a great defensive back coach. He's going to be a defense coordinator here real soon. You got to believe that, in Klinksdale. Great relationship with the kids, great understanding of scheme and how to simplify his secondary. And I don't know if you're telling me that our kids have no understanding or no connection to last year, I think that's a problem. I think that's a huge problem. Why would you change something that worked so well with so many guys returning? They had on the introduction of the game that Michigan only had, 5 returners, and Washington had 2.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody's trying to sit there and say, we're nowhere near as good a talent as we were last year. And that's on defense. You're not going to sell that to me. You're not selling that to me. In the 2 down positions, we got 3 of our guys back from last year. In the 2 outside edge, we have 2 of our guys back, and TJ Guy is proving to be an animal out there. He is getting home consistently. He's been a great surprise this year. Linebacker, yeah, we lost some good ones, Colson and Barrett. But when you're looking at Barnum and Newhouse, what's his name? Number 15.
Hausman.
I always get that. I think those are good replacements. The secondary we knew was going to be a little bit shaky, but let's not forget, we supposedly had the best corner in college football. So to me, if you got the best corner in college football, that should help all the other safeties and all the other defensive backs. That should take one guy at least out of the equation completely. Okay. And if this whole system is different, maybe that's the reason why we're 4-2 right now.
Yeah.
And looking at a second half of the season, that's brutal.
I don't think Will Johnson needs to play 15 yards off the ball. Put him out there on an island, put him by himself. Jerry, what about this question? I think there's a lot of Michigan fans that think this way because they've lost 2 games. I saw ESPN. I was watching their college football live, and they had put up whatever their number is. Michigan has a 3% chance at the college football playoff. Look, the Tigers had 0.2% chance, and look where they are. But A-Train says the season isn't going anywhere. It's too much of a mess. He says Tuttle will be gone in 6 games. No need to play him. Give the other guys more experience. Now, this is how fans can look at it. Forget this second half. Let's work on next year. I mean, I don't think that the coaches are thinking that way at all when it comes down to this bye week and what they're doing for the second half. I don't know. At what point, Jerry, do you start thinking about, well, okay, let's just get some of the younger guys in there?
Well, I mean, we have Ohio at the end of the season, and I don't think we want to go into Ohio thinking about next year with kids that aren't ready to play. Right. I don't think that's going to do anybody any good. I'm not in favor of just shit canning this season. We've got way too much talent. We can come back and get this thing righted. I just don't know if our coaching staff is going to do that.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Like that's a fan thing to say. And look, I remember when it was 1998, Michigan had come off winning the national championship. They went to Notre Dame. They lost that game. They came back and lost Syracuse. And I was on the radio saying, hey, you might as well just play Drew Henson now. Forget Tom Brady. He's going to be gone. Henson's the future. And, the Brady ended up ripping off a bunch of wins. And, the rest is history there too. But I'm not saying that, Tuttle's going to, go 6-0 or even 5-1. But you're talking about, throwing this out the window and just working on next year. It doesn't work that way, really, in college football. You can give guys an opportunity here in the bye week, and you can see if somebody can get in there, and you can make some changes and maybe play somebody a little bit more. But throwing I can't even think with Tuttle, like Like, are you going to go to Denegal, or are you going to go then to?
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, why not? If you're gonna, if we're gonna have a weekly change of quarterback, let's try Denegal.
Well,
Oh yeah, that's what it's been. That's what it's been. Give Warren 3-4 weeks to let him throw a few interceptions, and we'll go with Orji. Orji doesn't produce. Let's bring in Tuttle. Tuttle does well, throws an interception, fumbles the ball. We lose by 7. Those were 2 critical errors. Huge errors, huge mistakes. Totally changed the game. And I'm not beating up Tuttle. I'm not saying that Tuttle's awful and shouldn't be in there. I'm just saying that he's not the quarterback for our strength. Are we going to look at our freshman? I'm wondering if he doesn't want a red shirt and stay on the bench, or if he wants to get in there, maybe he might be the. But
don't get me started.
We have no idea what we're doing at that position right now.
Right. Don't get me started on the true freshman quarterback. All right, Jerry, you went through all that. Let me ask you this question point blank. Let's say that Tuttle who's quarterback 2 in Illinois? Who comes in if Tuttle isn't getting it done? If you had to make the pick, who do you think it's going to be?
All right. Well, I hope he's ready to come off the bench and give up his redshirt year.
You're Jaden Davis. You say
yep.
he might be the one. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I would hope that if he was a competitor, that could be the situation, and they could use him. Heck, I think you get 4 games, and you could still keep your red shirt. So if things are going well against Illinois and MSU, maybe they get Davis up, for Oregon if he's ready, but he still wants the red shirt. Is he, not ready to play? I mean, all those kind of things. That'd be a hell of a spot to start him against Oregon. And then you're thinking about going to Indiana and then having to play Ohio State. All of those, all tough. What about, Jerry? Let's look at a couple other things. And one would be, if there is a change, we know that Link has had a hard time in pass protection. Pro Football Focus had Percy, who was in for hitting at left tackle last game. He graded out decently as a pass blocker. How tough would it be? You get the extra week to flip Percy from left to right if Hinton's ready to come back in, and have him as your right tackle. There might be a chance that's going to happen. How difficult would that transition be for the team and for Percy himself going from left to right?
I don't know what that's going to do to our run game. I did see Percy get beat on that 3rd and 1. Mm-hmm. I think it was in the 4th quarter on that inside zone. But again, are you saying that's Percy's fault? The kid's lined up. He's aligned inside. Got very little help from the guard, which he couldn't because there was a linebacker, if I'm not mistaken, right in his face. So Percy got beat inside, and the kid made a play on Mullins in the backfield. So what are we doing? We're going to give up on Link. And remember, at the beginning of the season, Denny, we talked about this. Did these kids win these starting spots, or did the other guys lose those starting spots? I don't know. I don't know. If you're going to go with Tuttle, I think you might want to try Percy at right if Hinton's back at the left, and go there. I think it's going to take something away from our run game, though.
Right. And if you want to be a run team, maybe you don't want to play around and do something like that. So I hear what you're saying. All right. So here we are talking about the quarterbacks, the second half. What about this game tomorrow? You have Ohio State. Teams have not had great success, Michigan included, going from
Georgia included.
Yeah, going to the West Coast. It's tough to do, to go out there and play. Oregon, pretty good team. Oregon's also getting 3 points in this game. How do you look at this one? Do you like Oregon in this game, or do you think it's Ohio State, Jerry? Yeah.
When I mentioned Georgia, it's just these home crowds have been incredible this year. I mean, they're crazy. I couldn't believe that crowd in Alabama when Georgia went in there. And I mean, I think they won the game in the first half, really, to be honest with you. I think the Washington place was rocking. It was crazy.
Sure. Yeah.
Right on there, Lake Washington. Is Lake Washington connected to the Pacific? I'm wondering about that. I thought it was.
Well, I've been out there, Jerry, and I know that sometimes you're looking and you got the Olympus Mountains and you got Rainier. Yeah, I think it's all. I think the lake right there that the stadium on is connected to the Pacific Ocean. Yes, I would say that.
Anyways, I'm not sold on Oregon right now. I know they have a very difficult place to play in for opposing teams. Dylan Gabriel is a good quarterback, but I think Ohio's going to have too many weapons for him.
I think so too. The only pause that I give is that I had a friend of mine who is a Michigan State fan. And so he has watched in consecutive weeks his team play Ohio State and also Oregon. And he said from what he saw, Oregon's offensive line and defensive line is better than Ohio State's offensive line and defensive line. That's what he said. Now, that's against Michigan State. If you look at the score, that's differently. I like Ohio State to win the game as well. I mean, they've stacked everything up for this year. They're going after it, and heck, man, they could lose the game and they're still in it. But I think that they look at it. There's a lot of pressure building up on them, but it feels like they will have to go 14 or 15-0. That's the way that they put themselves in. I do think they're going to win this game.
I think that Ohio goes out to Oregon and gets the job done.
And what's best for Michigan? Would it be Oregon beating Ohio State? So then you'd get a little bit of pause thinking that, okay, if Oregon can beat Ohio State, maybe Michigan can. If I answer that at my own question, if Oregon beats Ohio State and then Michigan plays well against Oregon, well, then I think you're feeling a little bit better about it. What's the best case for Michigan, Jerry?
Denny, here what we are witnessing in college football is that you're really never out of it until you're completely out of it. Okay. In other words, Michigan can come back and run the table and still be Big Ten champions. Now, will they do that? Depending on the on what we do as a staff, as the coaching staff, how they prepare these kids and they got enough talent. They have the talent to win. It's just, are we going to be prepared and get after these teams? But that's what we're looking at right now in college football. You're going to have teams with multiple losses competing for playoff spots and competing for big playoff sports, home advantages, bye weeks and stuff. And they're going to have one or two losses. So that's what I think this new format has done. You see Georgia goes out, gets beat by Alabama, and then Alabama comes back and gets beat by Vanderbilt. It looks like home teams are really enjoying this transition into this new era of college football. And but I think Ohio's going to beat them. I think they're going to get beat by Penn in Happy Valley later on, though.
Yeah, I wonder for Michigan if Oregon beats Ohio State. You mentioned how tough it is, to play on the road. And then so Michigan has Oregon at home. And I'm thinking, well, Michigan could play Oregon tough. And then they would be thinking, hey, Oregon beat Ohio State. But then you'd start throwing out, that it was on the road and everything. And you'd just feel better about Michigan's chances.
Right now, Illinois is our next up. And as far as I'm concerned, they have their own destiny in their hand.
Yeah, and as far as I go, I got to see Michigan play well and have a quarterback go through a game. If Tuttle could play, I know he doesn't have to score on every drive, but the enthusiasm, you could just feel it with the entire team. If they could get a competent game where they have a quarterback out there before we start talking about, well, what's it mean for Michigan and just having a 3% chance and everything else. They got to win against Illinois, or talking about, going to Columbus or beating Oregon. That's all. That doesn't sound like very realistic, as we sit here. So we're just kicking it around, Jerry. You know.
Yep.
Okay, well, that gets us now to some the film and some questions before we get to that film. I'm just going to put a couple up here, Jerry. I do want to remind everyone that you like the Michigan conversation. It's going on all day, all night over on the Maize and Blue Review. Go to michigan.rivals.com. I just saw Josh Henschke, the publisher over there, bringing in audio clips, video clips of the people and then putting them on the site. That's pretty cool. You join the Maize and Blue Review today by going to michigan.rivals.com. Here's the question, a couple questions for you, Jerry. Mark says, we helped Washington beat us and clubbed Minnesota, who isn't that weak. So some high-end possibilities for this team. Are you buying that?
I'm with you, Mark. I think we've got as much talent as we need to be successful, especially on the defensive side. I'm flabbergasted by what's going on this year. I'm totally floored by what's going on this year.
Let's see, Rico.
It was not just the 2 losses. It's losing leads against Minnesota and USC, okay? It's not playing well against Arkansas State. I mean, we only beat Arkansas State by 10 points, and they came back in the fourth quarter like they did. So it's not just the 2 losses. It's so many other things. We're not putting teams away. We're not playing to our strength, and this is the result.
Here's the final question, and it's kind of dueling questions, and it's something that we've talked about already. But Rico says they'll have a chance to catch some passes with anyone other than Orji, and the other side of that says Orji can't pass, but is still better than Warren. So what do you say to that, Jerry? So here you got one saying anybody but Orji, and now you have someone saying Orji's better even if he doesn't pass than Warren.
Or is he better than Tuttle too? Is that what you're saying too with that? To me, to be honest with you, Denny, I think Orji is our best answer. And the reason is because if, and there's a big caveat to this, Denny, if we give him an offense that amplifies his talents. You say he hasn't run the ball, but he has run the ball. He's run through people. He's gotten us tough yards. He hasn't broken away big plays. We haven't seen that this year. We saw a couple last year where he broke off of a couple 10, 12, 15-yard runs. We haven't seen it much this year, but we have seen him run through people. We have seen him pick up first downs. Our offense, talent-wise, is a run-oriented team. To me, it might be boring. It might be ugly. But to me, I think the best chance of us winning is with Orji at quarterback.
Okay. There it is.
I know.
Hey, Jerry, we want your opinion, and you just gave it to us. We would like to thank Quick Cut for Jerry's ability to bring the film on and go over some plays and talk about it. And with that, we are ready to bring some of that film up and talk about it. And here we are in the first quarter this past Saturday against Washington.
Okay, Danny, here we are. Defense comes up with a big stop. To me, we got the game right where we want it. Great opportunity. What we needed to do to this crowd right off the bat was bore them to death. That's what our game plan should have been. Bore these people to death while we're taking their heart. Okay? And we didn't. We come out 4 passes out of 8 plays on the first series. I don't understand this one bit. I don't understand think about it, Denny. They had a week to come up with their first 1 or 5 plays or whatever it was. Okay? So that's what they came up with. We're going to pass the ball 4 times with Alex Orji as our quarterback. I don't know. I don't think that's playing our strength. This is playing to our strength. It's a nice fake play action pass, throw to Loveland, little play like that gets him first down. We're moving the chains. That's all we wanted to do here. We wanted to move the ball, move the chains, keep Oregon offense off the field, keep their crowd quiet, and we didn't do that. Okay, this is the play I'm talking about, Denny. Watch Orji. He gets met right there. Look at that. That's 2 yards short of the first down, right?
Yeah, he does a nice job here.
I'll take this all day long. That's a linebacker he ran over, Denny. That should give you confidence as an offensive coordinator that I can run the ball with Alex Orji against this team and pick up 3-4 yards without question. We should never be in 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 15 with Alex Orji as quarterback. And by the way, Denny, it's hard to call holding penalties on run blockers. It's too tight. They don't see, the refs don't see that stuff. I know. I played in there. It's much easier to hold when you're run blocking than what it is when you're pass blocking. Okay. Why, somebody put down there, Denny, last week, why we don't talk about some plays that don't work. And this is what I'm going to show you right now. Here we are. Denny, when you're sitting here looking at Michigan 2024, what we've seen this year so far, we got the ball on their 45-yard line. What should we be doing?
Running the ball right here.
Number one. Number two, what are we going to do on the other side of the 50?
Always go for
it. At 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. We're going to go for it.
Right.
Okay. Why wouldn't we? This is not playing to our strength. This is ugly. And that's not Alex Orji's fault. That's not what he does best. But I guarantee you, we could have run the ball and gotten 2 or 3 yards here, put us in a real nice 4th and 1, 4th and 2 situation. And this is a huge play in the game. That's a huge play in the game. That would have kept our offense on the offensive drive alive. It would have kept their defense on the field. That was a huge play in the game right there. I don't understand this. 7.5 yards off the ball. Why is he going to help here when he's an All-American and we got problems with this guy on coverage? So I don't understand that. And oh, by the way, this is what I'm talking about, Denny. Here's our rush. These are our edges. They've been getting home all year long. They do a real nice job rushing the passer. This guy had an interception against us last year against Maryland. This guy later on gets an interception that should have changed the game. So What do? We rush guys that are good pass blockers or good pass defenders and drop guys that are good rushers. Makes not a lot of sense to me. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, Denny. I'm sorry. And Will Johnson playing 7 yards off this. Denny, this guy right now has 2 ways to go. He can go either or. He can go in or out. Okay? There's no disruption or timing to get this guy off his timing for his pass route.
Got to be inside 5 yards because you can't touch him then after that. Right?
Well, you can touch him in college football. You can't touch him in pro football. But this is unbelievable to me. 7.5 yards off the ball, off of a receiver that doggone well he can cover.
What you're saying after 7.5 yards, he could put his hands on the.
Oh yeah, he can do that. He can do it. If that's what I thought. I don't think there's any 5-yard rule in college football. I've never seen it.
I thought there was. I could be wrong. Okay. So,
but I don't get that. I don't get that one bit. Okay. Now I wanted to point this one out, Denny, and this is why. As a defensive coordinator, I'm teaching my guys to key their keys. Okay. All right. If the guard pulls, fight over to center. If the guard pulls, you got to be over on this side. So let's look at this play. The whole offensive line and the back go that way. You mean to tell me we got nobody keying that?
Yeah, they didn't do a very good job on this.
That's as ugly as it gets. Flea flickers are hard to come by. flea flickers are hard. Watch this. There's 10 guys, 10 Michigan guys over here. Look at all the Washington cavalry over here. There's no reason why we shouldn't have at least a linebacker or a lineman going with it. I mean, they got to have some key that's going to tell them, hey, this is where the ball's going. I don't get that. Wow. All right. Second quarter, 3rd and 1. This should be an Orji package right here. This should be an Orji run. Okay, we're gonna fake. We're gonna give the ball to Mullins, but there's no reason why Orji can't pull out. Now I'm gonna mention this real quick. Why can't we arc out here on these guys and reach somebody in here? Okay, that's what a design read option is. Okay, when you're arcing on guys that can take the quarterback. And reading a down lineman. So what do we, this is an Orji package right here. But without Orji in there, very little threat to come out the other end. Okay? Another good run by Donovan. We are a running football team, folks. That's who we are. Inside zone for another 30. How many inside zones have we busted for touchdowns this year? And we should have had another one. Donovan slipped. But here's a great job by Bredesen right there. Getting inside number 5, kicking that out. Offensive line comes up Denny, what inside zone is really it's a trap. What the linemen want is the defensive lineman to get upfield and penetrate and get havoc. But what inside the zone does is it pins them out. And that's what gives you running lanes right underneath it. And Donovan has great vision here. Patience, and exploits it. Great run.
Yeah.
Look at that hole. Look at that hole. I mean, there's nothing but grass there. Now, we're a running team. I don't know why we don't have a running quarterback to really enhance it. Now, you could say a passing quarterback's going to enhance it too. Okay. But we're looking at a quarterback that was not slated to start. I don't think that's a quarterback that's going to enhance a running game, in my opinion. I like Tuttle. I think he's a good young man. I think Orji's our best fit. This kid, McCleary, is this his name? Number 81?
O'Leary.
O'Leary, great block downfield. Did this a number of times in this game I saw, and helped Donovan score right there. So another big inside zone run. And this is what I'm talking about. These kids know how to do this. They know how to combo. Watch, I think it's Klein come off here and get a U-block on this linebacker right here. We know how to run block. But look at all this space out here. What if Orji was out there, Denny? Look at all that space. We are not making teams respect that out there. There's no respect here. Because right here, Loveland makes his block. But there's no respect for that quarterback coming out the outside edge. And we're still getting that kind of yardage up front. Just think if we had a quarterback that would threaten the outside edge, another 11-yard gain. That's an explosive play right there. Say it or not, whatever you want to say. This is the one I'm talking about, Denny. 3rd and 2. Why doesn't the play work? We don't arc on anybody. We don't help our quarterback read this any. And what do? We put Percy in a bad position. Watch him. This is Percy right here. Right underneath this bubble. He's going to try to get inside this defensive tackle without much help. Good luck. Because you see that. Preba's got somebody in his gap. He can't help. So there should have been a read out this end.
Yeah, that's hard to do, isn't it? Get over there and get the defensive tackle.
You're going to try to cut off a 3 technique inside you where we're running the ball. We're running inside you, and we're asking you to get inside a 3 technique when all we have to do right here with these two is block out and give him an opportunity to read and come out the other end. But there's no respect. There's no respect for that. They're just going to slant right into the play. And it's much, much more difficult to run the ball when you're looking at that kind of stuff. Zapata has been outstanding all year. Great job. I don't get this. This is the one I was talking about earlier, Denny. This kid missed this. He's beat. He's beat. Watch him. He knows it too. Oh, they didn't show it. On the other film, they did show it. But he knew it. He was beat. Okay. We catch him in man. This is a great throw by Tuttle. Yes, he can give us this. He knows how to do this. 3rd and 10, great play. I'm wondering why we're 3rd and 10, though. That's my question. Walker with a big reception. That's awesome. Okay. Now I think this is where we arc. Why didn't we do this with Orji? That was my question. Nope, we didn't arc. But we did run it with Tuttle. Now, my thing with Tuttle here is I think he's too wide instead of attacking the line of scrimmage. You see what I'm saying, Denny? He should be right down here attacking the line of scrimmage this way instead of running out and then up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think that.
See how that space right there? He was lucky to get that. He was lucky to get that. But Orji runs that number 3 over. I guarantee you that, Denny. This is a great play by the offense. I think this is O'Leary again. Coming down, cracking. What he does is he brings the corner down with them. So basically, in essence, he takes 2. He takes 2. Easy pass. You can't tell me Tuttle can't do that or Orji can't do that. I don't know. I think he can. Great job by Tuttle and Loveland. Watch Loveland mirror the quarterback. He goes with them. These two run into each other. I don't know what this guy was thinking going all the way across the field, but good thing he did, which gives Loveland the opportunity to follow Tuttle and in the end zone.
Feeling pretty good after that.
We should be feeling real good. We should be feeling like we got this game right where we want. Hey, we're getting home with 4. We're getting home with 4. Sending 6. Down the gut. Down 4. Interception.
Nice. That was nice.
Down 4, Denny. We're dropping 7. It's a lot harder for a quarterback to find somebody with 7 dropped instead of 5.
Especially when he's feeling it from the 4. Yeah.
Especially when he's feeling it from the 4. And he's not a runner. He's not a runner. Second and 10. I don't know why we're sitting in 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 10 so much now. So that's my point, Denny. That's my point. That's why I'm saying, in my opinion, our team is more suited for Orji than Denigal.
I wonder, you know what? We don't get to see. I'll say that the one time that I saw Tuttle at practice was the spring game, not this past spring, but the spring before, and he turned the ball over a lot in that game. So I've seen him run around and he turns the ball over. I mean, he's kind of like an older Davis Warren to me, but hopefully, he had those first 3 possessions. He looked pretty good. He was able to throw the ball down the field, and you just can't have the kind of they got to protect the ball. They do that, I think they're going to have a chance against Illinois. And then I'm ready to talk about the rest of the season. I mean, it looks like if I had to predict that this is a 7-5 team right now, and
yeah, I can see that. I at best. If we don't get things straightened out, listen, you can sit there and say all you want about me and being wrong on Orji, and I'm good with that. I got no problem with that, folks. I totally understand where you're coming from with that. The bottom line is, in my opinion, he's the best quarterback on this team for this team at this time. That's my point. We can try to throw Warren in there and Tuttle, and we're going to keep turning the ball over, I think. And that's not something we need to do. We got to go into Illinois and completely shut that crowd down, take them out of the game. And that's what we need to do against Washington. We had a great opportunity, and I just don't see us playing to our strength. All
right, Jerry, what do you have planned for the bye week? So I'm asking you your plans for tomorrow. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm gonna watch my granddaughter play some soccer, I think.
Okay.
That I'm really keyed up for. And then I gotta watch Texas and Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. That's always fun to watch.
3:30, yep, for that one.
And then we'll check out Oregon or Ohio.
No baseball for you though, huh?
Oh yeah, I absolutely got to watch the Tigers. When do they play? Tomorrow, right?
They do play tomorrow. I thought it was at 3:38, but I'm just getting the notice from Hadley, who says that they have moved the game up to 1:00, which is going.
I just saw that.
Oh, you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to ruin my. Yeah, there it is. 1:08. I was going to go see my mom tomorrow morning and then figure out that I could stay there till early in the afternoon and get back for the.
I'm going to address something that Mark is saying. How did we miss the quarterback from Indiana? Halp, I think his name is, or something like that.
Yeah, he was at Ohio, the real Ohio.
U.
Yeah.
Ohio U. Yeah, and I saw him. I saw him when my son was at Western, and I also saw the kid from Toledo. And I don't have an honest answer for that, Mark. I can't say. The only thing I can think of is we got back so late from the national championship run that he was already gone, or everybody was already offering him and getting him ready to come in. So I don't have an answer for that, Mark. But that's a great question. We lost the kid. We lost the vision of the kid from Toledo. He should have been maybe on our radar. The kid from Ohio should have been on our radar. There are a few quarterbacks out there that maybe should have been on our radar. Obviously, we thought we had our quarterback in house.
Yeah, I don't have the timing for all of the quarterbacks. Obviously, Michigan went to January the 8th, and then JJ played it out almost to the end. But when they were in this, and then Michigan thought Tuttle was going to be coming back, so they thought that they had their quarterback. So I get that the portal dried up in January. Michigan was still playing, and JJ, and you can make a case they should have had it lined up anyways. And watching Orji, I would agree with you. But I think that when they went to spring, they thought they had Tuttle, and that was kind of their transfer in their back pocket. But having watched it now, I mean, these guys are paid to. These are the decisions that they have to make. And as we sit here right now, there's some truth.
Even if you thought you had your quarterback, Denny, if you thought you saw somebody out there that was equal to or better, wouldn't you go after him?
Well, you're thinking about then other guys are going to transfer. So I think that's what, if you come out and you bring a quarterback in and Orji sees that, maybe he's going to look. They thought, I would have gone after one from what I've seen. Yeah. I mean, I think that they really believed in Orji. I think they believed in Davis Warren too. And I think the miscalculation came with Davis Warren is if you just put him in an orange jersey, he can throw the ball around like Dan Marino. I mean, he's got this great arm and he's firing it all over the place. And they felt like, hey, we really got a guy who can really sling it. But the problem with him is that, and I don't know, you can't really rush and hit a quarterback in the spring, but as soon as somebody starts getting in his face and then you can hit him, he wasn't ready for that. And so they miscalculated on that. Obviously with Orji, it seems like they've miscalculated as well. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it.
This is where we are, Denny, right now. I mean,
That's it.
at the end of the day, it's leadership. Let's go Tigers. I agree, and it's leadership. We always used to say as a coach, what you see on the field is what you're teaching. If you don't see effort, if you see lackluster effort, not getting to the ball, not finishing blocks, that's being coached. Okay. When you see people dominating, doing things right, that's being coached. Okay. So what we're seeing right now, you have to assume is what's being coached.
I'm with you. All right, Jerry. Well, have a great day tomorrow. Enjoy your weekend, the bye week, and we'll talk with you coming up next week.
Hail to the victors, Denny.
Smash that like button. We enjoy that and the 5-star reviews. You know that. For Jerry Diorio, Dennis Fithy, and have a